You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's see, glory Father. And when you what only you can, we give you praise. Thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you. Let me sit there. Well, today is one of our anniversary days, and today we sort of focus on relationship, marriage. I think they have both ignited. And we're talking about fresh wind and fresh fire. We're talking about the fact that God, there's a revival here. And you may not believe that, but there is a revival going on. Slow, it's quiet, but it's happening. We have some guest ministers from Lagos, and we have the guest minister from Ibrahim, our own Pastor Mrs. Bimbo Okutiyang. After you become a guest minister, to be a lead in the church so that we can call you. Praise the Lord. But more important than that, she's a friend. Our guests are not here. I think they're still stuck in the hotel room. But they were here yesterday with the youth, with the young people. Were you blessed yesterday? Yes. So we're going to start off with Mrs. Okutiyang. I'm just going to invite her to the stage. Seasoned businesswoman, happily married to one of the most peculiar men I've ever met in my life. An engineer, a very unique way of thinking, Pastor Okutiyang. They have wonderful children, and the marriage is an example of what it should be, in my opinion, of the kingdom. Excellent. Anyway, let's listen. We're going to start with that. When the other guests come in, we can continue with that. We can't wait for them. Can we bring Mrs. Okutiyang? I'll carry her. She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't want to go. Please. Well, what this morning was originally designed to do was to, we've been doing for the last 2-3 weeks, it's Q&A. But I want to narrow the Q&A a little bit. And the reason why I want to do that is because I don't want us to just go off in different, this is about home ignited. This present condition of the country right now and what we're going through, thank you. This present condition of what we're going through right now in the country is affecting family. It's affecting family. It's very similar to what happened during COVID, when men and women were stuck at home together. Some of us have never lived with our families like that before because we always have to go to work, and work served like a release. And you come back, you can cope. But during COVID, we were stuck. Some men were not working, had no income. Wives were the only ones, and there were all sorts of fights that folks see. Now, the economy and the current, how do you put it, crushing. It's as if we're going through a crushing. You had 100,000 last month, you could buy everything you wanted. You still have the
before I can say something. So yes, like he said, we had the difficult conversations. Then even after we got married, marriage is a learning process. You just don't get into marriage thinking that everything is going to be rosy and everything is going to be like all the things you see in movies and read in books. You walk towards it. You walk every day to decide to be in the marriage together. So he's the one who would call me and say, "Oh, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it." Then, while having the conversation there and then, I realized that I say things that are hurtful for both of us, and I will regret it. So I now found myself and understood that I have to take a while to process it, to think about it, to think how I would say it with love. Yes, because our marriage counselor told us that we have to say things with love and just talk about everything, even if you're hurting or whatever, but just say it with love. So I had to think of how I would say it with love to him and in a way that he would understand. Then eventually, as time started going, I started being the one who would, you know what, let's talk about it. And it will shock him. Like he will be surprised. I want to say that I have grown.
Okay.
I have grown in the 6 years that we've been together. I have grown spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. So now I want peace. Because if we talk about it, he's happy, I'm happy. The house is not tense. There's no negative energy around. So, and because of our son as well, we want to show him that, you know what, you should always put out positive energy. Daddy and mommy loves each other, and you two, you have to show love outside and all. So we're teaching him that, and before we can teach him that, we have to do it ourselves.
I want to throw something at you. Talking of marriage, go ahead, please. It's very good. There's a marriage counselor in Ikoyi Baptist. That's where we got married. We went in for counseling, and the man turned to me and said, "You as the husband, whenever you have a crisis, don't go to bed keeping your wife awake all night." And I looked at him because I knew the person I was marrying. It's the exact opposite. I'm the one who doesn't sleep. She can sleep through a storm. How long did it take you, I'm going to each one of you, to discover each other's, you know what I mean? How long and when and how did it help your marriage in terms of discovering that this person is not the standard behavior how long and what did you really discover about them?
From the get-go, when I met Mbim, he wasn't the regular person.
He's still not.
Yes. And so for me, I wasn't sure what the rest of the journey would be like. But like I said, from the standpoint of his heart, I knew that I could risk it with him.
Yeah.
You know? But some issues that happened along the line, I didn't think he would react like that. You know, I just thought, now. I mean, this should be a walking way. Example, while we had counseling, pastor said, "Okay, you're a Yoruba girl, he's Akwa Ibom. Have you ever thought about what names to call the children?" Now, like she said, we talked about everything except the names for the children. So I was just going to talk that, okay, I think I just spoke because I was the extrovert.
Yeah.
I just said, definitely now. I already have names. Anoluwapo, The guy just sat up on the chair. "My kids will never have Yoruba names." End of story. And the people were like, because they thought he was a calm guy. They were like, "What's going on here?" He said he just wanted to tell her because she knows she would not listen. And to be honest, I did not listen. So when we had our first child, believe you me, it took us 1 year to get a birth certificate.
Are you serious?
That was the longest fight we had. You know, I had even forgotten because I waited about 2 years before I had the child. So it wasn't even name that was the issue anymore. So immediately I had the name. He just said, these are the names of the baby. Quickly, I just wrote it down. And then my mom called one day and she just said, Bimbola, so what names are we giving? I said, in Akwa Ibom, there's no ceremony. That is 40 days after they do child dedication. These are the names of the baby. And then she just said, excuse me? Aren't you a Yoruba girl? Don't you know that in Lagos State, at least at that time we're in Lagos, when your child wants to go to school, they need to know that the quota, common entrance and all of that. And then the light bulb in my head just came up. It was all this lovey all that time. And I just realized that, my child should have a Yoruba name. And then when he comes back, then he was doing his master's. He came back from school and I said, Blimo, I think there's an error somewhere that, we need to put Oluwafunmilayo in. I said, Bim, look, I've told you this thing. Like joke. The guy did not. I couldn't bring out the birth certificate and register. like joke. 1 year on, this girl didn't have birth certificate. We had to come back to Nigeria. I had to call my pastor in Ibadan. That pastor Alex, speak to your pastor. Mommy, you need birth certificate. And the pastor said, kilo day now. And then he spoke to him. And he said, okay, you can add it, but no, that is not really my wish. That was all I needed. And then I quickly went and did the birth certificate. So subsequent births, he will now say, bring the Yoruba name now. But guess what? My kids have full Akwa Ibom names. And nobody even bothers if there's a Yoruba. In fact, the Yoruba name that I gave them has caused more trouble. Like, good. Why did I say so? The surname is very long.
Yeah.
So adding the Yoruba name made it long. So when we go to fill forms, the names are too long. And even the kids are like, mommy, come. Why don't we just have 2 names like most people? Why do we have... So for Enobong, we had to hyphenate Olaoluwa Kitan to his name. So when we did NIN, it took us, he just put Enobong Daniel Okutiyang. He didn't put it. So doing passports, we had already put, they were like, no, the process to add that name to it. Bimbola, you see yourself now. You should have just left the thing as 2 names and would be fine. So really, like I said, it's all, it's done in love, like they said as well. So you're not too hot about it. Yeah.
What about you?
I will use the same example as she just did. Like the name, we didn't really have issues with the name because I'm Igbo and he's Edo State, from Edo, and we didn't even think about it. I think because my name is Linda, and all my siblings and I all have English names, then Igbo names, then our surnames. So I thought he would just have an English name. So we came up with an English name. He came up with his Edo name and another Islamic name he likes, Arabic name he likes. Then my father came up with an Igbo name. So he has 5 names. But he knows 4. he knows 4. He pronounces 4. So on his birth certificate is just 3. Yeah. Name I gave him the English name, the father's name and his surname. So we didn't have an issue with that. Well, we're good, thank God. So yeah, that's it. I've actually forgotten the question.
I knew that she had forgotten the question because the way she was enjoying the gist. I knew that.
Sorry.
How do you, the person, how do you...
Oh, when did I know?
Discover the personality of who you're marrying?
when I discovered the personality of who I got married to, I think it was 2 years after. 2 years after, I realized that, auntie, this your strong-willed and stubbornness will not go past this man. This man is strong-willed too, so you better both of you come together and compromise and decide something. So it was 2 years. It took me 2 years, about 2 years, yes.
That's especially concerning that bit. I mean, when you listen to people like her, listen to people like Uncle, you realize that your way is still far. Because we've been friends for about 9 years now. We dated for like a couple of years before we got married, and we've been married for 5+. So in essence, I've known this woman, apart from when I used to see her on TV and just be like, see, fine girl. I've basically, but we've known each other for about 9 years now. And some days, she will still show me something that I'm just like, from where to where now? Like, you know. So I feel like I'm still learning her. If that's, I don't know if that's the proper way. But I'm still, you know, studying and learning. And
Them, come on, guys. Well, I want to ask, I thought this one, they're always acting as if they don't have any questions when they have. I want to talk about money. So the reason why I want to talk about money is, I don't know how wealthy you guys are, but I'm sure you are, but I'm sure you didn't start that way. And that's where I want to go with all this, especially you and your husband. Because for me, if you notice what the criteria being given to young people today to get married is to qualify the person they're marrying. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Where it's he has to have money, he has to have a job, he has to have all this. What's your experience with this issue of money? Because I know you didn't start with any kind of wealth. You know what I mean? Even though he was one of the few, I think he's a structural engineer or something, civil, but he's very unique in his field. So I knew he had a niche that him and his mentor had carved out. But I know it wasn't as if you guys started with plenty money. So to take us through that journey, and then you two will take us through your journey, because she couldn't have been wealthy, and you definitely. Take us through that journey.
Please, I need to just appreciate Bimpe. Just let me call you Bimpe, because she's one of our fans. We watch Tinsel because of Bimpe in my house. And Damini, you know, you're such amazing. The way she just bubbles up, you know. But she's not acting. That's her real house. So that's what's really giving me, you know.
This is true.
The vibes, you know. Bimpe is not fake, oh. This is her real self. So I truly appreciate you guys, and I have to take a picture to show my daughter. She's in Lagos that I met. Peep, peep, peep. That's how we call you. So even though I fell off Tinsel, it was getting too long. Yes. All right. So getting. I think I got married at 25. What? And my husband was 27. In fact, we would have gotten married earlier. But for the fact that I had 3 seniors above me, one was married and the 2 ladies were not. I had given my mother notice long time that let those 2 girls go. Me, I am ready. And she said, Bimbola, just be calm, be calm, be calm. So she allowed one go eventually before me, and then the other one went after me because I gave them a whole year. I said by December, I'm walking to I'm tired. You know, we were born again, we were not kissing and smooshing. So, but we were almost nearing to the edge. And I said, I'm not sure how long we can hold, though. So we got married. At that time, I think I was actually richer than my husband then because I was in the events industry. And as engineers, I never knew his salary anyway, but I knew that obviously it couldn't have been anything exciting, but I didn't mind. You know, we were married for different reasons. It wasn't money then. So we moved into, in fact, the year we were getting married was when he moved out of his uncle's house. So we had a 4-bedroom apartment in addition, lovely, but there was nothing inside it. No, when I say nothing, we only had a mattress inside. But you know, when you're in love, all those things don't matter. You know, we're just enjoying, feeling like boys and girls going up and down. People who come to our house, they wonder, no chair, no TV, no. And of course, let me keep the name. Some people will try. By the time I come back from, my husband comes back from work, he will just see that there's a new set of furniture in the house. He will keep quiet. Another day he will come, he will just see something. So one day he said, come. What's going on here? Who is furnishing? Oh yeah, get the boss and put everything in. Who is furnishing my house for me? So I was like, Blimo now. He said, no, Bim, stop that nonsense. You want me to call your mother and tell her not to help me furnish my house? And I said, she just cares. Anyway, so the last one, when my mom sent a TV, immediately the thing landed. He just put it in a car and sent it back to Lagos. So when the driver was going, I said, come, take it to my mother-in-law's house. Go and put it in the cellar. And they dropped it there. Because he said to himself, if he allows this, it's going to continue. That, my daughter is not comfortable. Then they will now start asking you, how much do you use to run the house, and start supplying. But, you know, so he had to put his feet down on that, hey girl, you're just going to rock with me whatever I have. I was working, nobody said, how much are you earning? Somehow, we didn't talk about that, but he was doing everything he needed to do. He would say, chop money, whatever I can buy. He did that every month. He gave me money for housekeeping. Of course, we didn't have kids, and at that time, just after, while we couldn't afford money for honeymoon, so we were in our house doing our honeymoon. So his friend SOJ came and gave us a World Bank project. That project was millions and millions of money. In fact, we fed on that that project for almost 5 years into our marriage. But after the second year in marriage, he had to go abroad for his master's. And I said, hey guy, me, I'm not staying here. Anywhere you go, that's what I signed for. We go together. And so we went off to England as well together for a whole 18 months or so. So by the time we were back, did I come back? No. By the time we were back, things were much better. You know, there was much money and all. But up till now, I don't know why that is. We don't talk about who brought joint accounts. We do not have. Because trust me, I can't have. I'll be honest. You know, we never really said, should we have joined? Everybody just knew that, give me space, but do what you're supposed to do. I mean, up till he's been the one paying the school fees for the children. I had 2 kids who went abroad. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. I take responsibility with, after a while, when we started paying fees abroad, nobody told me. I had to be the one sorting chop money, and so I go buy everything. And then there was a day I attended one of these women's program, and the woman said, I'm sorry for you, I was really bad. NEPA bills, everything. I don't even know how they load meter. My husband does everything. No, the woman now said, I'm sorry for you. You are setting up yourself for a replacement. You are there. You don't know where anything is in the house. You are doing Oga's wife. I'm sorry for you. You better let them feel you. I'm sure you know the woman I'm talking about. Put your quota into your home. So immediately I go home that day. I said, Blimo. I started, you know, she said, you praise your husband. You make him feel special. So I started, you know, praising. He said, Bim, what do you want? I said, once, I said, I want to ask a favor. Can I start paying in Obong school fees? The guy looked at me. He said, please, where is this coming from? I said, no, it's just me. He said, no, Bim, this is not you. This is not you. It is definitely not you. So I had to confess. I said, the women's program we went for, they said, if you're not doing anything tangible, they will replace you. I don't think I want to be replaced, though. And after that, by this time, my son was in SS1. You can imagine. So I took it up and I started paying his school fees. And I was happy. Now, the months that I'm stuck, if I say, Blimo, I don't have enough money. He'll say, Madam, is it not, are you not the beans? Do you want me to tell all your fans that you don't have money to pay school? You don't enter. And then I'll tell God, God, they shanu me. Anyway, the money would come and I would sort it out. But truly, for us, that was what worked. Nobody is asking anybody how much you're generating. Nobody is saying, put 30%. We just, everybody, it works for us. Everybody does what we feel we should do.
No, please continue.
Sorry. So we make sure that there are years that, like, it's basically, actually, funny enough, now that I think about it, it feels like this year I make more than she does. For the first 2 or 3 years, she was constantly making more than I was. But now it feels like, this year I make more, the next year she makes more, the next year I make more. So we've been switching. But one thing that, yes, thank you, that's the word, alternating. But one thing that has been constant is that whenever either one of us feels like there's a need at home, we don't necessarily wait for the other person to figure it out. Apart from, the things that are set in stone. Like, okay, utilities, that's on me. Grocery shopping, that's on her. Then domestic stuff, we split it. But then everything else, like, she's the DIY person. She's the, we need to upgrade this part of the house. We need to do this and that and the other. I'm just like, then just tell me the one you want. Let me know. Because every day we're changing. Today we're changing furniture. Tomorrow we're changing. The only things that she hasn't changed are my paintings on the wall because she chose them. Everything else, today she's like, babe, I think once. I'm like, we used to argue about it. Then I'm just like, wait, why am I arguing? It's her house.
We have the money. Why shouldn't we change
it there? And then when we got pregnant with Keon, she couldn't work for almost a year. And then there was COVID and everything. So the Holy Spirit just ministered to me and said, listen, this girl is the type of person that does not like to be idle, and she hates not being able to contribute. So it was just said, put her on a salary. I'm like, from where? Do you know who you're asking me to put on a salary? This person made more money than I did last year. How am I going to put this person on a salary? And he said, do it now. Okay. And that year, that was 2020. It was ridiculous how much money I made. Because I just committed to it. I was like, and I told her, I was like, I'll put you on the side. Don't worry about it. Don't be sad that you can't make money. Because this is my personal Igbo girl. I was like, don't worry. I will put you on a salary. And the first month, it was comfortable because I just done a gig that was quite sizable. And she was like, okay, you go, boy. And my mind was like, God, I better go. This one that she's happy.
Remember, don't start something you cannot finish.
So we had this thing where dating give me grief. She'll be like, whenever I do something sweet, like one of the first things I did for her that shocked her, and I was confused about why it shocked her, was that I sent her airtime. I don't like to make phone calls. My phone is always on silent because the sound of it just, I don't like it. It upsets me. But she loves to hear my voice. And so she will call me constantly. And then one day it occurred to me that this girl spent a lot of airtime calling me. So I was like, oh, so one time she called me, we spoke for like an hour. Because then I'm in Lagos because I was working in Abuja at the time. So when we were done talking, I just sent her airtime. And she called me and she was shocked. She was
because nobody has ever done that.
So that's another thing about this young lady. She's, because of how resourceful and hardworking and independent she is, people only see what they can get from her. But from the moment I met her, I was like, this is she just came across as someone who needed to be cared for. So, little things like, send her airtime, fuel in her car, all those little things. I wasn't wealthy, but I was the firstborn. I had siblings I was taking care of. My mom had passed. So I wasn't poor. I just wasn't on the level that the people that were toasting her were on. She never used to, this people didn't, it was weird, but at the end of the day, we're at this place where we run a production company together. So when we started the company, we used to put a fraction of our earnings into the company. But then now that, the company is making, it's taking care of itself, so to speak, we don't have to do that anymore. So now all our focus basically is on projects. Okay, this is what we're trying to finance next. And then there's the small orga that is everybody's best guy. So, these are for us, we think in terms of projects, not necessarily in terms of, I hope this has made sense and okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we have all learned a thing or two. We're running out, but there's actually one question. We'll take just one more question, and then we'll end this part of the service. So can we have...
Good morning, Church. Thank you for coming around. My question has to do with complementary. I My best word is it's okay. But I've used that word often that it has landed me where I don't want to be. But am I doing bad or I need to work on myself or is there anything wrong with it's okay? Because at times she will say, babe, how do I look? It's okay. But to her,
That is okay. It's not okay.
You are doing bad. If you should tell me it's okay, why can't I come out dressing like this and you tell me, hey babe, how do I look? It's okay. Uncle, you have to tell me everything. Oh babe, your hair looks nice. Yeah. Like when I was done doing my makeup this morning, and I go into the room to go and meet him, and he now looks at me and I said, oh babe, this is not bad. Wow, you look, my heart melted, like I did something. So you need to tell her that she did well. All the sacrifices and the hard work was not in vain. So it's okay, it's not working.
Ebo, you know you're my big brother and I love you. You see, I want you to live a long life. Because in the years that you've been my big brother, I love you very much, sir. Please, Ebo. There's non-verbal and then there's verbal. So non-verbal for us is when she catches me staring at her. I stare at her a lot.
They're not around today. Yes, we are ready.
What's my
Uncle Shegun. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Father, we thank you for another beautiful time right here. And that's our key right there. Welcome, welcome. This is the Bridge Network City Church, and we're glad that you joined us today. And we are super excited to be back here again at the Review, Reflect, and Engage table right there. And what an amazing time today. Unfortunately, our two other sisters, other two sisters, we can't find them yet, but I'm sure they will definitely come back after the network service. But we are grateful that we are all here together. Pastor is here. My my uncle is here, so I believe that today is going to be great today. Today, Home Ignited, and we had our guest, Mr. Ibrahim-Suleiman, and we also had Lina Ejiofor come to speak to us, and also Pastor Bimbo Okutiyang come to speak to us, and a lot was said, finances, lots of questions in between, but there's a whole lot, right? And as usual, on my right hand, Pastor, talk to us. What would be your highlight? I'm sure that you also, hopefully I'm speaking to two married people. So I believe that, a lot was said, but what would be the highlight, especially if you had to translate that to other young and single people like us?
Okay. For me today, I like the practicality of the session. I mean, it was down to earth, and they were talking about things that are actually happening right now. And I could see a trend while Pastor Okutiyang was talking, and some things that we call her Bimpe, we used to call her Bimpe. Bimpe also spoke about. And that's the fact that I noticed that anytime the men in their life gives, God blesses them. So I think it's actually a spiritual principle, because Ibrahim actually said something that when he began to give half, 10%, he noticed his finances shut up. So it's like, so that is to say that when men gives and they obey the Lord in that regard by being a blessing to their family, that is where the blessing of God is, and they will begin to have more. So for as many people that feels by holding back and not blessing their family, they are trying to hold on to something, they are invariably losing and not making much.
Awesome. So,
all right. For me, I came in when Sister Beams was talking, and she was talking about how the husband used to surprise her from time to time and told her to take particular bills and settle. And I guess that's a good one. Interestingly, when our guest started speaking and started talking about the other thing, I just looked at it's not that I'm trying to praise myself, but there was a time, maybe because of the financial crisis, but I still do it. I still try to do it. Every week I buy fuel for my car. For my wife's car. She does the school runs and does her own business, but I make sure that the fueling for the week is on me. And I remember I might not even have the money per se. I would be thinking, will I be able, in fact, when I started, the thought was, will I be able to sustain it? Because that is the most important thing. But surprisingly, at least over 10 years now, I think God has been blessing us, just like we said. So when you bless your women, just like Pastor Ipoli came and said, when you give a woman,
they multiply it.
Whatever you give a woman comes back multiplied. So I believe it's a principle we need to look into, because God that gave the women the womb gave it for a purpose, because the womb is meant to generate. And so a woman is a blessing to every man. So that's my own take.
So from all that I was said, it felt more like finances was like a big deal.
It's a big deal.
A big deal. So I want to say, would there be anything that was said that sort of answered the question to anything finances in marriage that was said?
Well, from what they said today, of course, there will be more. But basically, I think it's more of understanding.
Understanding.
And where there is love, most time you hardly notice who is doing what.
Yes.
Yes.
So by the time you are particular about something is already wrong. So, but it is good for men to know that actually God made them to be head. When you call somebody a head, it's not just a physical head like that. Head means responsibility.
Yes.
So if you actually assume and you enter that position, every blessing that accrues to that leadership comes to you. But when you leave it to be done by others, then the blessing will naturally flow to whoever is doing
it. Yeah.
So, and when people are not now careful, before they know it, they'll become envious. But the reason why it actually left you was because you weren't doing what you're supposed to do. So at the summary is like, love your wife, love your family, know that you are the head, be ready to do all it takes to be in that position and watch God bless you.
What about you, sir?
All right. So from a spin up from what Silk and Papa Girl said is the fact that when you really look around and you look at families where the woman has taken that position of a breadwinner, the men are weaker. When you really think about it. But the women, because they have taken that position, just like you said, all the blessings, favors of God flows to that person because they has taken up that responsibility. Now, financing in marriage is a big deal. I remember many years, Pastor would say there is no romance without finance. We can still remember that one many years ago. But interestingly, another thing that is very key is communication. Of course, we can talk all we can about financing, but communication is actually the major thing. So if we can communicate and be on the same page and then take care of our finances, everybody plays this role. I'm sure we'll have a lovely.
That's wonderful. And there's still more to come at the network service. Our guests are still going to be joining us. Ibrahim-Suleiman and Linda Ejiofor, and also Pastor Bimbo Okutiyang. And a special, announcement for every young person looking at this live stream right now. Please send in your questions. You have people that are, if you have burning questions about relationships, about home, or you're about to marry. In fact, I feel that those are the people that need it even more. If you're about to marry and there's some questions that you need answers to, please join the live stream. I'm sure that we're going to be taking questions even at the network service. So send your questions. I'm sure the moderators will be happy and open to answer your questions, and I'm sure that it's going to be a great service. I have my questions already, especially when it comes to finances, because I'm thinking right now that in this current generation now, is it really possible to give don't let me go there. When is the network service? I'll ask my questions. But that's it. That's our time right here at the Real Success Seminar. Very soon, in a bit, we'll be going over to the network service, and it will be a pleasure for you to join in and to experience God with us. And through the topic we're looking into, Home Ignited. It's a season of fresh wind, fresh fire. And when you want to do something fresh, it's better to start afresh again, to renew knowledge. Whatever was lost, learn and expand your knowledge again. And so thank you all again. Thank you for coming. And after the network service, you shall be seeing our face. But for now,
So,
how are you?
I'm good.
guys,